You're sitting in front of that dream client, that prospect that you have been dying to get to be a client, and you're having a conversation, and the dreaded objection comes up. Oh, you're too expensive. The price is too high. What are we going to do to overcome that? How in the world are we going to be able to convert this prospect into a client when they just told us they don't have the money for us? Hi, my name is Tiffany Kellogg, and I am a facilitator for the Asentiv Mastermind communities. And we're joined today with some of our Asentiv Mastermind community members as we begin to explore this question of, how to handle the price objection when it is too high. And so we've got a couple of folks here to help us explore the conversation. And to kick it off, let's just get your initial thoughts. So kicking it over to you, Jason, because I know you get this objection quite a bit. I'm going to have you start us off with what do we do when we get this objection? And for those of you watching live, do feel free to put your comments or your questions into the chat box. We're happy to have you. So Jason, over to you now.
Well, throughout our conversation today, I'm going to give you two different points of view on this. And the first point of view that I'll start with is the point of view back then. Not as Avery Construction, but as an employee of a company that sold roofing, windows, siding, and storm protection products all over the state of Florida. And there is a lot of competition in an industry like that, and price objections are definitely a big part of that sales process. So in that business, if you feel that you're going to get those objections, you're going to start with the higher price, and you're going to have a sale, an opportunity to get a value today. You're going to create an opportunity that makes a perception of bang for the buck, and it's an industry that I know a lot about. And in the end, I decided I didn't like selling things to people that they absolutely needed and didn't necessarily want, and hence why I landed in the remodeling world, where people absolutely love and want the remodel. In that remodel, it's a different scenario altogether. I price what I know is right for my business, the margin that I know my business can withstand and operate on a healthy basis. And I'm not going to try to discount or break that margin in order to try and make somebody happy. It's just not possible. You do have to understand there's some people out there that have unreasonable expectations. And so, we deliver what we know is fair to them, fair to us. We're not trying to make a killing on anyone's job. We're not trying to give away the farm on anyone's job. It's a list. It's a scope of work. And these things go on the list or come off the list in order to change the price. Can't hear you, Tiffany.
I was going to say, love it.
No, we still can't hear you, Tiffany, which maybe...
Yeah, I thought I was having technical problems.
Oh, like the whole time. I was like, I thought we were good.
Well, pros and cons of going live, right?
Right. And I paused it for a minute because I was trying to type to see, because we were trying to figure out if Mercedes' camera was working yet, and it's not. But so thank you, Jason, for sharing, a couple of thoughts, and we'll be coming back because I know there's more for you to expand upon. But I was asking the members of our mastermind. So we have our Asentiv Mastermind community meetings, and the goal of these, the intention of these, is that we get to surround ourselves with people that help support us. And this was a question at one of our mastermind meetings. Now, when I reached out to the members of the community and said, hey, we're doing this live, Mercedes was like, oh, this is really good. I want to have this conversation. So Mercedes, what were kind of your thoughts or questions around this? And as she's sharing, again, for those of you watching live, feel free to comment and share with us your thoughts and or questions. We'd love to hear from you.
Well, this is a question that I was glad to hear, because it's one that I ask myself frequently, especially as an attorney providing estate planning services. That is an objection that I frequently hear from my clients. And sometimes it's hard for me to be able to answer the question of, well, I talked with this other office and they can do it for less. So, what can you do for me? And that's kind of where I'm stuck. So I was really glad to have this discussion, because it's like, what do I say to that? Because I know, to say like what Jason has said is to, explain what the value is and the time. But how do you answer, well, someone else can do it, why can't you? So
Great. I love it. Gentlemen, what are your thoughts? Somebody else can do it for a lower price. Why can't you? I think you're muted, Jason. Or were you telling Sean to go?
Well, I think especially because I'm also an attorney, so especially from the attorney angle, someone else can do it cheaper. Why can't you? Well, maybe I have more experience than the other attorney. Maybe I have some more specialized knowledge than the other attorney. Maybe that's just where, like Jason said, that's where I need to set my prices to make sure that I can pay my employees and cover my law firm's overhead. I'm never going to be the cheapest attorney on the block. I'm never going to be the most expensive either, because that creates, I think, unrealistic expectations the other way. So the way that I would approach that is basically to be honest. Plus, within my world, which is bankruptcy, I know where my competitors are. I know where they're priced, and we all have to be. When we file a bankruptcy on behalf of a client, we have to get our fees approved by the bankruptcy court. So if I go too high or even sometimes too low, I may get questioned by the bankruptcy court. So I think we're all right around the same area anyway. And I think even in Mercedes' world of probate, don't you have to get your fees approved by the court in a probate scenario?
not necessarily. I think that the court needs to approve when, perhaps there's extraordinary services offered, not ordinary services. And that's defined by the statute, just for people that are not in my world, what is considered ordinary and what's considered extraordinary. But you've given me a lot of food for thought, because I am in the same school of thought. I'm not the most expensive, but I won't be the bottom either. I try to be just right in the middle.
Gotcha. How about you, Jason? Thoughts for Mercedes?
So, one of my favorite responses to people is usually that, I give everybody my best price. It's the best price that I feel comfortable providing for my business to make the appropriate margin and to make all this stuff that you have to do to make a business possible worthwhile, to create a business asset to later be sold. It has to have some value to it. So, not everybody's going to be my customer, and that's okay. And I'm going to give everybody, equal time and opportunity to explore a project with me and see what it could cost. But sometimes when you find that person that they're just trying to beat you up, and they're saying like, well, if you take $5,000 off the price, I'll buy it. Well, there's not 5,000 in this price in profit right now. So, I can take these items off the list and deliver it 5,000 cheaper, sure. But that's the only way we can do that. And if they press on, I will humbly, politely excuse myself from the conversation and potentially recommend one of my competitors that might want to work for that rate. And while he's turning his business upside down, losing money, I'll be over here working on a reasonable client who appreciates the value I'm bringing to the table. And if we begin the project that way, and this project's going to last 3 or 4 months, what's the relationship going to be throughout the life and the progression of that project? And it's not a comfortable position to put yourself in. So I've positioned my own sales team to not have to negotiate in uncomfortable conversations. We give everybody our best price. The price is what it is. If you like us, we would love to work with you. If you don't like what you see, no hard feelings, and we'll be happy to recommend somebody else. It's just a good way of doing business, and then I'm also not positioning any rogue salesperson to go out there and overcharge or take advantage in any kind of way, because again, the price is what the price is. There's no flexibility to that conversation with me.
That's a great point, that may not be the client for you.
Yeah, I often find if they're really super, super price sensitive, are they going to be sensitive about everything that comes up? And I don't think that it's necessarily wrong to say, like, why are you expensive? I remember a couple of years ago, we were looking for a roof for my grandma. One person was more expensive than the other. And so because it was with somebody in my network, I went to them and I said, why are you so much more expensive? So I don't think it's that wrong to have somebody say, well, why are you more than somebody else? We just need to be prepared to answer the question of, here's the value that we have, here's the value that we offer. And then you have to determine the let's say goodbye because I don't really want to work with them. Is it that, it's, hey, if they have a set budget, you have a set budget of X, let's talk about what we can remove to make it happen. And so it could go either way. Jason?
Yeah, these sometimes with these projects, again, you have to know what your target is, know that you're speaking to the right audience. So I found over the years that the projects that involved insurance companies, there was a flood in the house, they have to put it back together, they've got a specific allowance of money given to them by insurance, only to put it back the way that it was, and less a deductible. And then owners that might think, well, let's improve that along the way. We'll get the better cabinet, the better floor, and the better this and that. And they have an unreasonable expectation and then creates an environment that creates this uncomfortable scenario. Same when it goes for a financed project. So over the years, as I've sort of focused my target in on the beachfront, golf course front type properties, the client that has a house on one side of town and a weekend condo on the beach, the more that I've gotten into that space where this is really a non-topic anymore. If they're going to question too much on the price, again, it's probably not going to be my customer. But being able to deliver a high value, high quality product, that's super important to back up what you're trying to do.
So Tiffany, I heard an interesting story. Story once from a friend of mine. And
while you're coughing,
wow.
Sean, I'll let you know
Yeah.
that we've got Tanya saying hi to you. Let me see, it should be popping up. It's not. Oh, there we go. So Tanya is sending some love to Sean, and she also shares. Taking a little while. So proud of you. So super excited. Thanks for watching, Tanya. All right. So Sean, give us your thoughts.
So I had a friend of mine tell me his story once, and it was a repairman who walked into this factory that one of the machines was broken, and they asked him to fix it. And so he walked up and he looked at the machine for a few minutes, grabbed a hammer, tapped the machine, and it whirred back to life, and it was fine. And when he gave the company the bill, it was $1,000 bill. And they said, $1,000 bill, all you did was tap the machine with a hammer. I want you to break down this bill for us. And what he wrote on the bill was use of the hammer, $1, knowing where to hit the machine, $999.
Yeah. I recently was reading a book and it was $10,000.
Whatever the number is, I don't know that.
So yeah, it's about it's about the knowledge. You're not paying us for what we're doing now. You're paying us for what we know, and especially as attorneys, that you've done a lot of schooling. So we got a hey from Bharat from India. Glad to have you.
Hey, Bharat. Tiffany, it's risk versus reward too. And so in the way that I explained it to a client, and if you want to hire the owner operator, he's going to come out here with his tool belt on and actually physically build your building. And I'm sure he's going to be able to do it a lot cheaper. I myself am going to supervise a management team who's going to come in and operate very effectively and efficiently. And so, yes, he gets it done cheaper. But if that one job has a problem and turns upside down financially for some reason, is he able to finish it? Does he have to turn tail and run away? And whereas I have a dozen jobs going in at a given time, so if any one of them costs me a little money, which sometimes that happens in the construction world, I got 11 others that are profiting and keeping me, cash flow positive and rolling. So again, risk versus reward.
Well, I think it also has to do with knowing your own value. And so I remember the days where I had an attorney tell me he practiced rent law. And I said, what is rent law? Is that landlord-tenant? And he said, no, it's not landlord-tenant. He said, I'll do whatever it takes to pay the rent. I'll keep on whatever I can to rent. But as you get to know, knowing your own value and what can I take on and what should I take on? I mean, if somebody came to me with a personal injury case, I have no idea how to do that. I had a client that hired me years and years and years ago and came back to me for another issue, which is, in my world, it's rare to get repeat clients. And I quoted her a price, and she said, well, wait a minute. The last time we worked together, it was half of that or whatever it was. Why did you go up? And I said, well, it's been, X years since we've worked together, and prices have gone up generally, number one. And number two, now I know this is what it's going to take to work on your case. And she said, well, can you just file one document for me? And that's where I get to say, I'm sorry, I can't be your attorney piecemeal. Either I'm in the case or I'm not in the case. And so if you want me to work on it, this is what it's going to cost, and it's a flat fee. And like Jason says, it is what it is. And if you want to pay that, I'm happy to work with you. And if not, let me see if I can find someone else who can.
Gotcha. Love it. So we're here with our Asentiv Mastermind Community members, exploring this idea of how to handle price objection. Mercedes was asking a question very specific to her, so thank you, Mercedes. Appreciate it. Sally says, hi, y'all. I always love anytime we can get a y'all going on. For those of you watching, if you have any comments or questions, please feel free to put those into the comment, whether you're watching this on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube. Glad to have you. So communicators is kind of going through your head on this idea of how to handle price objections in sales. So I've got 4 ideas on how I would probably do this. If I'm trying to overcome those sales issues, different ways that I like to handle this is, number one, can I figure out, is there a way for people to try for free? Now, this doesn't really work for let me do create a house. This doesn't really work for let me do a lawsuit. But I know for Sean, he's got his book that he's able to share his expertise for free. I know that there's different ways that we can do for free. So is there a way for people to see your expertise, to get a taste of you, to know that, yeah, you're worth it, sorry. In my world, we have the Asentiv Ignite Your Business program, and we offer a money-back guarantee. Now, that, again, doesn't work in all professions, but it is an opportunity. The third thing that I think you can do in overcoming these objections is use past statistics. If they're like, ooh, it's too expensive, if you're able as an attorney to say, well, 98% of the time, or, well, I know you can't guarantee, so watch what you have in your certain industries. If you're able to share some facts or statistics of what you've been able to create in your business, you do have that opportunity. And my fourth, I don't know if it's my favorite way, but one of my favorite ways to overcome the objection is the use of success stories. Now, Mike Macedonia, who is actually one of our founders of Asentiv, likes to talk about using the success story as a vaccine for the sales objection. And so sometimes if we can use the success stories in advance, that gives us an opportunity not to have to ever overcome the objection. So those are kind of my 4 ways that I like to go about dealing with this. How do we overcome any objection, not necessarily just sales objections. And Sally did say Facebook here, but Guido, she's just saying hi. So thank you, Sally. Glad you're able to join us. And it looks like Sean and Jason both have something that they want to say. Y'all figure it out.
I like the comment by Mike Macedonia, and I teach this into my sales team all the time. Sometimes they like to get, let's just say, a little lazy, and they'll go say, Mr. Customer, I'll go figure out that estimate for you, and I'll get back to you. And then they go on their own time and they prepare all the numbers, and then they shoot them an email and send it back to the customer. And what does that customer do? They go straight to the bottom line and think, wow, that seems like a lot of money. And that's absolutely the wrong way to do this process. And the right way is to sit at the kitchen table and piece by piece by piece build the budget together so that you're creating value as you go. The client decides answer by answer if this should be in or out of the budget. So when you get to the end, if the price is too high, it's really their fault because they said yes to all these things. And now we can come back and undo and take some things out. But I try to give them options A and B as we go. Do you want the higher price or the lower price? The higher price, the lower price in bite-sized pieces so that, again, take the emphasis off of the bottom line number.
Love it.
I like combining 3 and 4. So there are times where I've said to a client, the last time I handled a case like this, here's what we were able to accomplish, but to get there, that client had to pay me blank. And that sort of, sometimes helps.
Awesome. Love it.
Here, kind of listening to everyone, I had a different thought because I've had clients ask me or comment, why is your price too high? But at the same time, I've had clients tell me, wow, I was expecting it to cost more. So then now it's too late. I can't go back and raise my price, but I mean, and what's fair is fair, but maybe here's another approach. Maybe I'm doing something wrong and where I'm looking, what I'm doing to find clients.
Well, sometimes what I'll do is I'll raise prices until the clients start to say that's too much. And then I know I've sort of hit the top of the market and I can adjust from there.
Tiffany, if you have your prices set to a point where one of your clients says, no, they're not going to hire you, the other 9 of them did hire you for the right price. So that makes up the difference. And so it's really, again, about knowing your target market and make sure you're speaking to the right audience, make sure you have the right tools and options. So in some worlds, if Sean's doing bankruptcy in defense, the foreclosure defense, that might be a more price sensitive type of person right there, but he's going to make so much other debt go away that his is a very, very small piece when presented the right way. And, in some industries, are there options like financing? Can financing take the pressure, the emphasis off of a total price because you're able to break it down into a payment or take it over time? And so, there's other ways to desensitize people to high prices.
Definitely. And shared, it's coming up maybe. He shared with us, he's another Asentiv facilitator over in India. So glad to have joining us. It's probably late at night for us. Great shared. Objection can be closed by stories advance. Love this idea. Now, I want to take this whole idea of how to handle objections in sales and flip it around a little bit, because part of our goal at Asentiv is how do we generate those referrals so we have the amazing business and spectacular life. So not only do we have to know how to, one of the things that we're going to have to do is train our referral sources. How do you overcome objections on our behalf? People start freaking out and say, but wait, Tiffany, I don't want the overcoming objections on my behalf. I want to overcome my objections when I sit down with them. Well, okay, we got to get them to sit down with you. So think about, how do we overcome objections as your referral source? So, Sean, Jason, Mercedes, how can I objections so that the prospect will actually sit down and talk to you?
I love telling a story about this to my referral partners about another referral partner of mine who maybe had a tough experience with a contractor. She had referred me to a girlfriend who hired me to do the project, and I got a glowing review when it was done. When it came time to do her own kitchen, and she brought me over to do an estimate, we talked about some grand ideas, and somebody sold her a much smaller package to that. And she approached me very sad and crying one day to say, I'm sorry, Jason, I just can't afford you. And I said, it's okay, Lisa, I'm there to support you. I'm your friend, and I will see this through. Well, 6 months later, the contractor finally left her home, and immediately the trash can slide was falling out of the cabinet, breaking, and she needed advice on how to fix it. So I came over, I helped her out, I fixed the trash slide, maybe pointed out a couple of differences in the package. Since that time, I've gotten 4 more new referrals from her that she says all her girlfriends just pay the price. He's worth every penny of it. And so, again, a real life circumstance that actually has turned into a great referral source, great referral partner for me, and a great message is the same message I use to teach my other referral partners. So if they don't have a message of their own, they can just tell that story.
I think for me,
Awesome. Love it.
for me, I offer a free consultation, I think, in almost every circumstance. And a lot of attorneys do. It depends on the area of law, but a lot of attorneys offer a free consultation. So that's a very easy way to have to get a low, it's not a lot of pressure to get the referral is, look, he'll talk to you for free. All it's going to cost you is 30 minutes of your time, 45 minutes, an hour, or whatever of your time. That's been the easiest way for me to have my referral partners overcome price objections, is that I'll talk to them for free.
Yeah, and I offer a 30-minute complimentary consultation also, and I find that speaking directly to a person face-to-face, whether it's in person or via Zoom under these current circumstances, that the conversation allows me to overcome any objections or many of the objections that they can, or determine whether or not we're a good fit for each other.
For sharing. I want to really quickly introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, what you do, and then if you have anything else that you want to share as we're wrapping up, it's kind of your last opportunity. So who are you? What do you do? Any last, Mercedes, we're going to start with you.
All right, so my name is Mercedes, and I am the managing member of Mercedes Bunce Law. I focus on helping clients gain peace of mind by making sure that their estate planning documents are in place, or helping administer a loved one's estate when they pass away. So I really try to help families through a difficult time, or help plan so that they don't have to worry about it now and they can enjoy the things that make them happy instead. I practice in the Tampa Bay area, but I'm available if people are comfortable via Zoom or FaceTime or any kind of other technology. I've helped people as far north as Hernando County and Marion County, as far south and east as Miami-Dade.
Awesome. Thank you. Sean.
Yep. So I'm the other attorney in the room. My name is Sean Yesner. I own Yesner Law. We help people who want to have more money at the end of the month rather than more month at the end of the money. So we help people who want to eliminate their debt. And we also help out with a lot of real estate issues, foreclosures, loan modifications, those types of things. The other thing that I do to promote the law firm is I have my podcast, which is called Crushing Debt. It is a weekly podcast. It comes out every Thursday morning, and I should surpass episode 300 here by the end of the year.
Awesome. Excellent. Thanks. Jason.
I'm Jason Avery. I own Avery Construction, remodeling business all around Tampa Bay. 40 employees working, a dozen projects at a time, all the time. I'm a partner in a cabinet company, a factory in Clearwater called Designer Cabinets LLC, where we build custom cabinets from scratch and we provide them to contractors and designers at wholesale prices. I'm also a coach and a consultant for constructing success. I coach and mentor other general contractors and tradespeople how to not rob from Peter to pay Paul, how to actually keep a client happy, to get referrals and to make money along the way. And in my consulting hat here, my final tip is, are you actually charging enough? And you get an objection, the price is high now, but is it enough? And are you a solopreneur who's out there trying to, just budget only what you need for you? Or are you allowing enough into your sales price that you could pay somebody to be marketing for you, somebody to be doing the sales for you, somebody to be doing the production management for you, somebody that's doing the accounting for you? Are you charging the right price to have an operable business that runs a strong margin? Businesses need margin to survive. Without it, the business has no value, and really you just have a job. So if you're building a business, are you charging enough?
Love it. Love it. I want to say thank you so much for you three joining us here today as we've been looking at this how to handle price. How to handle price. Yeah, what it says on the screen, y'all. Excited to be here with the Asentiv Mastermind and explore these questions because I know this is something that plagues lots of entrepreneurs. Taking care of that, overcoming the objection, those techniques that work for you. It has been a pleasure to be with you. Do me a favor in the comments below, especially for those of you watching this down the road on YouTube. Share, how do you handle that you're too expensive, the price is too high objection when it comes to your business so you can begin to create your success. We look forward to seeing you again soon. Happy networking, y'all.